My name is Keeley Karsten, and I play Natalie Fableman in Steven Speilberg's The Fablemans, and this is Young Entertainment Mag. Getting to work with Steven Speilberg was definitely a dream come true. It was an honor to be able to be in a project that was so important to Steven, and I was very excited to play someone that was so personal to him, and I loved it. Working with Steven is hard to put into words. I think that I loved working with Steven because he's so gentle with his actors, and he gave us so much freedom to create these characters based off of real people. But Steven was just as excited as I was to come on to set every day. He loves making movies. But I think if I had to pick one of my favorite Steven Spielberg movies, I would have to go with E.T. Because E.T. is one of the first movies that I saw, and it's so imaginative. I also think that, to me, it's one of those movies that makes you want to make movies. The casting process was done over self-tapes. The first part of my audition was a smaller scene, and then they asked for my reel and to send some photos. And then I got my callback, which was a much bigger chunk. And we spent hours filming it. After we had sent it in, I think a few days later, my agent and manager called me and told me that I booked it. And I was so happy. I think that Steven and Cindy Tolan, who was her casting director, did an amazing job casting the film because I felt like everybody playing a different character had a similarity to that character, and I couldn't imagine anyone played by anyone else. Although I did start my journey in television, I don't think I would call it a transition, because for me, I don't think The Fablemans was like anything I had ever done before. So I definitely felt a lot of pressure the first day, but I quickly realized that set could become my home, and I miss it. I miss it a lot now. Playing Natalie Fabelman was the best experience my entire life. I think what I loved about Natalie was that she was so strong. People's words seemed to bounce off her, which I didn't have, except for her family, because they mattered so much to her. And I love that about Natalie. But I also think we have so many similarities, like it's not even funny. I think one of the main ones is that we're both very combative. We're like in it to win it. We don't back down, which can be good and bad. I think something I learned while playing Natalie Fabelman was probably how unpredictable being on set can be. There was one scene where I was supposed to be totally normal, and Steven asked me to start sobbing, and I had 1 minute. And I definitely learned how unpredictable being on set can be. I think the main challenge while playing Natalie was living up to someone's expectation, especially because my character was based off of Sue Spielberg, one of his sisters. And I think that I really wanted to make Steven and his family and Sue proud, but I also had to trust my instincts, and I had to, find the clues that Tony Kushner had left in the scripts, and I think I did. Thank God. Working with so many amazing actors definitely taught me a lot. I got a bunch of advice on set. I have to say mostly from Michelle Williams, but I think something really important that I learned is that there are going to be days on set where I have really good days and my scenes just flow. And then I'm also going to have days where I'm not so good and I need to dig deeper and work harder. And I think that's important to know. For me, film didn't differ from TV that much. I definitely think it's most of the same process and the same work. However, on Fablemans, I did spend a lot more time filming, so I got to know people much better than I did while filming on TV. There were so many funny things that happened off camera. I think on set, I danced and sung a lot with Steven, which leads me to my story. One day, I was helping one of my younger co-stars because she was struggling in a scene and wanted it to be over. And so I said, Sophia, I will make sure that one of our co-stars dances for you if you keep going. And so I had this deal with Paul Dano that he was going to do this whole number for her. And then after the scene was over, I went up to Paul and I said, Paul, you got to do your number now. And he said, what? no, you were gonna dance and sing for Sophia. And I said, wait, what? And then we all started dancing and singing, and Steven came over and said, everybody stop. You're doing it wrong. And then he started dancing and singing for us, showing us how it was done. And that was one of my favorite moments on set. If I were to describe Natalie in 3 emojis, I would start with the heart on fire, and then the explosive star one, and then the family emoji. Although they need a new family emoji. They need one with 4 kids and a monkey. I really hope that the audience understands that life is complicated and it's a journey, and there are challenges and obstacles, but you have to overcome them and you have to push through and you have to forgive, which I think is something that Steven does so beautifully and people can definitely learn from. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe to Young Entertainment Mag.